We are starting the technical session 1 of the 33rd GMA Convention Emerging India in Amritkal. Our student volunteers are circulating the slips for the lucky draw to the audience who is seated on their chairs. You miss the opportunity, you miss it. So they're supposed to fill in your details on both the slips and put it in the drop box, which is again with the student volunteers. Yes, you can please circulate the slips. I'm being asked to inform that the management members of Ghaziabad Management Association include the ECGC and the office bearers. Kindly do not fill the slips. We being the hosts we are actually sponsoring and actually distributing the laptop and the second prize. So kindly request you all not to fill the slips. The executive council members, the governing council members, the office bearers of GMA, I am being asked to share this with you. Are welcome to fill in the slips, but there's another rule also that you have to be physically present to collect the prize in case you are the lucky one. It is a non-transferable slip. So kindly bear with us because we would love to have the gracious presence of our eminent speakers till the end of the program.
Oh boy.
We once again welcome you all to the 33rd Annual Convention on the theme Emerging India at Amritkal, organized by Ghaziabad Management Association. Dear audience, we had an enthralling inaugural session in the morning wherein our eminent thought leaders shared their perspectives with us. Carrying forward the momentum, we are all set for yet another insightful technical session on the theme Digitization, an enabler for growth, and Startup, a catalyst for growth. We request our distinguished panelists to kindly grace us on the dais. Please put your hands together for our session chairman, Mr. Alok Saxena, Director SNC Infotech Private Limited and Executive Member and Joint Secretary of Ghaziabad Management Association. Our session chairman, Mr. Alok Saxena, sir, kindly grace us on the dais, please. Can we have a huge round of applause? Mr. Anup Kumar, Executive Vice President and Global Head of Operations, Infosys BPM. A big round of applause for our eminent panelists, Mr. Anup Kumar and Mr. Rajiv Bajaj, CEO Bajaj and Bajaj Corporate Chambers. Let's have a huge round of applause for our stalwarts. Thank you so much, dignitaries, for your gracious presence. Dear friends, it's been rightly said, with commitment to your deepest convictions and perseverance, you can stand tall against all the challenges and obstacles coming in your way. These thoughts are shared by our distinguished panelist, Mr. Anup Kumar, Executive Vice President and Global Head of Operations, Infosys BPM, a charismatic leader with numerous innovative ideas. A huge round of applause for him. We request CA Anil Agarwal, sir, to kindly welcome him with a token of greeting.
Yes, sir, Samnet, please.
Thank you, sir. You can round of applause for him. We request CA Gulshan Thakurji to kindly present a welcome sapling to him. Please, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for your gracious presence. Do not look how long it will take you to get there. An embodiment of these inspiring words is our distinguished session chair, Mr. Alok Saxena, Director SNC Infotech Private Limited, Executive Member and Joint Secretary of GMA. It's our honor to introduce him. An electronics engineer, Mr. Alok is a prominent professional turned entrepreneur with over 30 years of an illustrious experience in the field of education. He has a diversified portfolio spread across IT education and training, assessment solutions for corporate and institutions, and skill development. He is the Joint Secretary of GMA and Chairman GMA IT Forum. May we have a huge round of applause for him. Welcome him with a token of greeting. So please. A big round of applause for our session chair, Mr. Alok Saxena, sir. We request Mr. R.K. Mahajan to kindly welcome him with a token of greeting. Please, sir. Welcome, sir.
Sir, सामने please. Sir.
May we now request our session chairman, Mr. Alok Saxena.
Good afternoon all. I'm an entrepreneur, as ma'am has already told, and I think this is the toughest challenge for me to set the tone for this session. Because after Dr. Deepak Bohra's session, I really don't know how to set the tone for this session. Should I use a podium or go on the floor or use a dais? I am really confused. And this is the biggest challenge in my 30 years of entrepreneurial experience.
मैं जा रहा हूँ.
So in first session, which was a beautiful session, I would say, we had a lot of things like next decade is going to be decade, and in fact, not one decade, there will be multiple decades, which will be referred as decades. Digitization. It was also discussed evolution and revolution will be through technology. Technology is the in thing which will be governing emerging India during Amrit Kaal. And as shared by Mr. S. Krishna Kumar, that every second 3 new people are being added on internet, and out of which 2 are from villages. So technology is really playing an important role in establishing the divide between villages and cities and creating modern India. So these are the few things which have made my session easier. As you know that I am an entrepreneur, and I started my IT venture in 1991. I started off with IT training, software development, and digital processing. IT, as you know, is a vital component of technology. In last few years, we have seen technology has played an important role. Even the vision for emerging India during Amrit Kaal says it includes technology-driven knowledge-based economy with strong public finance and a robust financial sector. We see a lot of sectors, as discussed in inauguration session, are making a huge progress, and India is making a mark on the world stage, from agriculture to space technology, education, healthcare. There are a lot of changes, significant changes are there. In last years, we are seeing that businesses, industries, banking system, they are all digitally transforming their business and are able to provide a better service to people. And with the advent of technologies like Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, AR and VI, which already have been discussed in the first session, we see that there will be major shift in times to come. Different sectors will have different things, like in transportation sector, there will be major shift towards economic, eco-friendly mode of transportation. In education, we will see the students will be using more augmented reality and virtual reality, and there will be really change where how a student will learn and interact in future. In healthcare too, we are already witnessing that robotics and AI are being used for diagnostic and treatment of diseases. And in future, we will be seeing a lot of AI-driven data models, which will be also will help in prediction. For instance, in healthcare, through sensor implanted in our body, data can be collected, and the model will be able to predict that any human being which if he can be suffering from which disease and when. So I see AI platform and technology is going to govern the emerging future during Amrit Kal. We have seen different revolutions. We started with PC revolution in last 2-3 decades, which had ensured computer was on our desk. Then it was smartphone revolution, which ensured computer was in our head, will be intelligent. With this, I request the first speaker of the session, Mr. Anuj Kapoor. Mr. Anuj Kapoor is a chartered accountant, a certified management accountant, and certified in financial management. He has done leadership courses from Stanford University and Harvard University, USA. Mr. Anuj Kapoor currently works for Infosys as head of global operations for their business process management services. He is responsible for managing workforce of 55,000 people spread across 35 centers in India and abroad. He is member of Infosys BPM Executive Council. He represents Infosys in BPM Council of NASSCOM, and he is board member of HIPPOS, which is joint venture between Infosys, Hitachi, and Panasonic. Mr. Kapoor will share his views on digitalization and enabler for the group. Mr. Anuj Kapoor, please.
And before I start my session, I'd like to thank GMA for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts about this important topic today. The idea of my session is to keep the things simple. So I'm a chartered accountant working in an IT company. So I normally try to simplify the concept for me and my audience always so that it's easy to get in. So the theme is very relevant. If you see, we keep talking about multiple things. One is digitization. Another related concept is called digitalization. And then we also talk about digital transformation. So what does each of them mean? If you see, digitization means you are digitizing the data. Means there is a data which is on paper. Now you are trying to put it into system, the system of records. That is the digitization. Now once that data is there, what do you do with that? Which means this data is also with you. It can be also accessed by XYZ, multiple people. So the next stage is digitalization, where this data can flow seamlessly between 3-4 set of people or multiple set of people. So that is the digitalization part. So, and on top of that, if someone takes advantage of this data and the flow of this data, they come with a business case and they come with a business idea to make money out of that. So if you see, I've tried to display that. The first is how to digitize, how to save money, and then how to earn money. A simple example I have put there. I have taken 2 examples, I'll explain them. So GPS. So GPS is digitization of maps. So which means the map record, if you digitize, then there are 3 people. I am taking the Uber case study here. There are 3 elements there, 3 parties. One is the rider, someone who wants to go from place X to Y. And then there is a cab driver or cab which can take that person from X to Y distance. And then there is a management company which provides this platform for one person to link with the another person. So this is the digitalization part of that. Now Uber comes with a business model of making money by doing this. So this is the digital transformation, which is platform driven transformation, which they take through. Another example if I take for you, so we all know about invoicing. Many of you are associated with the businesses, your own business or somebody else's business. So you know that invoice. There used to be paper invoices which used to circulate. Now, if that paper invoice is digitized, which means that data is put into a system of record, whether in ERP or any system, then how that data can flow through. It can move from one ERP to another ERP to different systems. And then once it is there, you know that which invoice is to be paid when. You can take out the data, complete data, and plan your cash flows accordingly. So this is another set of example. Now, what does AI fit? How does AI fit into that? AI is the artificial intelligence. So anything which human being does, whether it senses or it thinks or it acts. If a software program also can do that based on data which is there in system, that software program or complex software programs are called artificial intelligence, which helps to do almost the same thing what human being can do. If you see sensing could be taking any external stimuli. So for example, we do take it through our senses. Similarly, the softwares can also do that through the camera, so you see everywhere webcams recording, or you go in the highway, there are the ones which are recording the speed. So there are multiple use cases where people are sensing the data. And then once they sense it, then it can be put into the thinking hat of that. And then if you see, it can be put into a logical and structured order. If the data can be put in logical and structured order, which means it can be used for a decision making. And then act. If someone wants to take an action based on that, someone spoke about earlier about a lot of analytics, the quantum computing. So more and more data is there in the system, there is a more and more structured way of presenting it, and more decision making can be done there. Very recently, all of you would have heard ChatGPT. It's a craze these days. It's called generative AI. So if you recall, or even in current days, Google, what is Google? Google stores data. You can go into Google and you can find the data. Google presents data as it is. Wherever it is there in the internet, it will source it. Whereas the generative AI or ChatGPT, what that does is present it in a structured manner where it gives a conclusion on its own. That's the difference. If you click something, say that, give me an essay on, say, mother or cow. I'm just taking a very basic example. So in the current way of search engine, it will, if you put it in Google, it will give you thousands of the cow's essays which are there in the system written by someone else. It will just point it out and bring it up. Whereas ChatGPT, what it will do, it will create its own essay and bring it to you by combining all the data in the system. So this is the power of thinking and acting of artificial intelligence. And this opens up huge opportunity of making a lot of tasks which human beings are currently doing as redundant. Now, we have spoken about Amrit Kal, and what is Amrit Kal? So, as per the EY report, the Amrit Kal means we are targeting $26 trillion economy by 2047. That is the vision, and there are multiple pillars of achieving that. If you see, the first and foremost is digital infrastructure. So which means laying of 5G cables, trying to reach internet, making internet reach everywhere, is that creation of digital infrastructure. So government is working very hard through the telecom players. The second most important thing is how to improve the digital skills. People spoke about the demographic dividend of India. That demographic dividend can only be capitalized if there is a right skill set with the people. So how to make sure that our education system is reformed, And our tertiary education system, which sits on top of the basic education system, is also reformed and which is tuned to the latest realities. Then only we can reap that demographic dividend on digital skills. Now, if you see, government has also tried to create a lot of public platforms out of that. So we all know about Aadhaar, we know about CoWIN, and now what does these platforms do? It allows through an API for any software systems to plug and look at that data and validate based on that. If you see a lot of our fintechs, financial technology companies which are coming up almost every day, they are trying to hook themselves with that basic data which is already there in the system and creating a business models for them. Most of the startups today are trying to use the already created that data which is there, and government is building that data in a big way. And you can look at that also. And whether it was linking zero bank accounts, or now those zero bank accounts, which government worked hard to do that, people can access now through digital means. That is the importance. If they always have to go to bank, then you can't use it well. So these are some of the basic infrastructure things which government is creating. I think this gives a good perspective of how infrastructure skill platform can bring the foundation together for businesses to sit on top of that. I'll just give an example. There are a lot of people who might be representing from manufacturing companies. All along manufacturing companies, the idea was to control the production and get maximum insight from the production systems. What is coming from machine, what is machine saying, how things are moving on the conveyor belt. So everything was related to production. Now what the opportunity lies is that how you combine those production systems with the consumer insights which are coming from the market. Earlier this opportunity was not available. Today you will not believe the car making companies, as they are focused on their production insights, they are also focused on the, you about internet insight in the cars. Basically they are tracking you. More than tracking car, they are also tracking you, they are looking at your behaviors. Apple is developing maps. Apple is developing map, but there is a map which already exists by Google. Why are they doing that? Because they want to control the consumer behaviors. They want to track you, where you are going, what you are doing. So this mapping of production versus consumer behaviors is going to unleash a lot of insights for new businesses to develop. You see now, even the insurance companies in many places, especially in US, it has started that the premiums will be discounted based on the consumer behavior. Earlier these consumer behaviors or driving behaviors were not tracked. Now these driving behaviors are going to be tracked. How often you are going for medical checkup, how often you are on the driving properly. So this combining of consumer and production behaviors is a new thing which is given by this digital, so-called digital initiatives. Now, to sum up, always we have to have a key takeaways. So the biggest takeaway is that digital is the mindset. We have been running our companies and since ages, since the time of Chanakya, people quoted, since that time the businesses have been run over a period of time, businesses have evolved. So going into digital, thinking how digital will work your businesses, it's all change in mindset. We have to keep learning, otherwise someone else will come and disrupt our business. The second is that digital will always coexist with human. So we have devised a term called humanware. So humanware means best of human and best of software. When it comes as a combination, it gives the best business value. The third is, we all have to see that in our businesses, in our day-to-day life, largely the work life, because the outside work life is not governed anymore by any of us. We have to keep going through the smartphones, we have to keep looking at what is happening, what others are doing. But even our workplaces, we have to keep innovating and see that how we incorporate the digital as much as we can. I've kept some 2-3 minutes for quick 2-3 if you have some questions. My presentation is more or less done. Thank you.
First of all, thank you so much, Mr. Arun, for enlightening us with all the kind of things that you have spoken. I'm also associated with global associations which work on metaverse. And it is actually going to be the next step forward of IoT, what we are talking. First, I wanted to understand what is your view of metaverse, and secondly, I advocate governance and privacy. Because the way artificial intelligence is moving and is progressing, I think these two aspects of governance and privacy plays pivotal role in making it sustainable, I would rather say. Thank you.
A very valid point. What is happening, the disruption which is happening very fast on data side. So there is a lot of data which is there with many corporations which they can use it in a way they want to use it. It's a big fight which is happening, and in many places like Europe, where they are very particular about individual liberty, data privacy, a lot of stringent laws are coming in place. But I can tell you the digital transformation is far ahead of any government interventions. Because government interventions are basically following up what is happening on the digital space. They will never keep a pace of that. So always there will be a debate. There will be, in India also there is a policy which is under works. It will come. By the time it will come, you will see that already somewhere else word has moved. So always there will be a pace of change which is faster than what humans can or law can pace up with. There will be disruption. There will be disruption. There will be a lot of chaos, and it is happening in many places. It is happening. On metaverse is like going into 3D. So if you see, Facebook has tried a lot on that, and they even changed the name of the company, and somehow it has not worked out the way it has to happen. It has a lot of utilities, especially on the warehouse side and many other places where virtual reality, 3D is all coming into picture, but I think it's more to be developed. But it's working very hard because even on the smartphones, people are talking about bringing the metaverse part of that, the virtual reality there. So a lot of development, a lot of innovation, transformation is happening in this place. Not only on the business part side, but also on the deep technology side. People are trying to unravel the brain of human being. So there's huge innovation, transformations, or R&D going on in that. So we don't know what is going to happen. You would have read that how Musk tried to put some chips in human brain and he didn't get the permission of the people. But he is still looking for volunteers who can possibly allow their brains to be tested and some R&D to be done on that by putting some wires or something there.
Imran Khan.
Sorry?
Imran Khan को भेज दो.
जी जी बिल्कुल उनका नंबर है.
I'll also take one more opportunity of asking questions. I am actually Major Namrata Dasmana, and I do research on Indian economics.
Okay.
And I wanted to understand from you, coming from Infosys, why moonlighting is not being encouraged by Mr. Narayan Murthy. Being from West also gives an opportunity for people to use their innate potential and innate talent. I will also give a kind of understanding that the organizations are even having short of talent because the way entrepreneurship is booming and the way we have an ecosystem of startups. People have started, and especially these youth, the youngsters have started doing things on their own. So giving that kind of thought of moonlighting in a positive way, what stops our leaders to not advocate it or not to encourage it? Of course, in a governance, having all the kind of framework of governance for a sustainable manner. Thank you, sir.
So while on my own as Anup Kapoor, and I'm not the official spokesperson of Infosys also, so I'll have to skip this question. I'm sorry about that, but that's how it is.
Can we have another question from somebody else?
I heard about climate change. So climate change is one of the topics which Dr. Vora also talked about. So I just have a few lines on that which I have composed. If you want, I can contribute to that. Sir? Please. I'll sum up and I'll close with that. So चिड़िया का उपदेश. So हम लोग देखते हैं कि गौरैया काफ़ी आती हैं, हर एक के घरों में आजकल गौरैया आती हैं, और ऐसे ही एक गौरैया हमारे बालकनी में आई और उसको देख के कुछ विचार मन में आए. तो दैट इज़ व्हाट आई हैव रिटन, ट्राई टू कैप्चर हियर. वो चिड़िया क्या सोच रही है हमारे लिए. मैं बालकनी में चिड़ियों को दाना खाते देख रहा था. बच्चे तो खाने में मग्न थे मगर बड़े वाले चौकन्ने थे. उनमें से जो अनुभवी था थोड़ा करीब आके बोला, क्या कर रहे हो, हम सब के पीछे क्यों पड़े हो. दाना कड़वा और जहरीला है, पानी भी कसीला है, फेफड़ों में मेरे भारीपन है, हवा में सांस बहुत कम है. एक पड़ोसी चिड़िया थी, उसकी तो नस्ल भी खत्म हो गई. मेरा शरीर गल रहा है, तुम्हारा कैसे चल रहा है. चिड़िया पूछ रही है एक इंसान से. हम गौरैया भी बचे हैं, डरते हैं आगे क्या होगा. अगर भगवान से फरियाद करें तो क्या हमारा भला होगा. पर देखता हूं तुमने उनको भी दान दक्षिणा से खरीद लिया है. तुमने ये जो पैसा इजाद किया है उससे सबका मुंह बंद कर दिया है. सुना था इंसान तो सयाने हैं, पर तरक्की के ये कैसे पैमाने हैं. सब मटिया मेट कर रहे हो, इतनी दौलत किसके लिए समेट रहे हो. तुम जानते हो क्या सही है पर उस पर अमल नहीं कर पाते. ये भी जानते हो क्या गलत है पर उससे दूर नहीं रह पाते. कहते हो पंच तत्वों से बना है शरीर, पर करते तुम प्रकृति का अपमान हो. अहम ब्रह्मास्मि का नारा लगा के जताते अपना कोरा ज्ञान हो. ये इतिहास के खंडर भी तुमको कुछ नहीं सिखाते. संतुलन ही जीवन का सच है, क्या इतना भी नहीं बतलाते. वक्त है अब भी समझ जाओ, अपनी इच्छाओं पर थोड़ा काबू पाओ. खुशियां सर बाहर ढूंढते हो, अलग अंदर है उसे जगाओ, अलग अंदर है उसे जगाओ. थैंक यू.
Experiences in working with different areas. He touched upon 3 aspects: digitization, digital transformation, and AI. He said that with digital transformation, it will not only provide better service to the people, but it will enable for organizations to earn the money also. Then he talked about that digitization is going to be a force multiplier and leading to cashless economy. And he also talked about AI adoption across the industry. With the digitization comes a lot of innovative ideas. And so young generation are coming with a lot of startups because they are having innovative ideas. And the startups are again one of the key aspects for future in emerging India. Mr. Rajiv Bajaj, he is the CEO of Bajaj and Bajaj Corporate Chambers. He is a commerce graduate and has a LLB degree. He is a fellow member of Institute of Company Secretaries of India. He was past chairman NIRC of ICSI and also past secretary for Consumer Electronics and Appliances Manufacturers Association, New Delhi. He also worked with Mrs. Panasonic AVC Networks India Company Limited as a senior associate director in finance director and company secretary. He is a serial entrepreneur, startup coach, and a mentor. He is associated with a lot of communities and groups to contribute in startup system. He will be sharing his views on startup, a catalyst for growth in emerging India.
Sena, Mr. Dharmender Seth, Mr. Anil Kapoor, Mr. Deepak Vora. After Deepak's scintillating address, like it's playing after Virat Kohli. And I'm lucky that I'm in the middle order, so I'll try to do justice with the time allotted to me was 15 minutes, but I'll try to cut it short so that we can catch up with the time. The topic allotted to me is startups, and I work in this area for the last 3 years. As of today, as we sit half an hour back, Startup India website said that we have 97,918 startups already registered. It's a very dynamic website. I think if you want to have knowledge about startup world, just visit that website, and I think you'll be amazed to see how India and how digitalization of Indian government is progressing. We are proud to have already 110 unicorns in India. And there was a discussion today morning that by 2030 we are going to be third largest economy of the world. But let me tell you, we are already third largest startup ecosystem of the world. And that calls for a big round of applause. Now, if we look at what is startup? It's a company which is into the initial stage of the business. We have many young minds around us today. We saw a lot of youngsters here. Every second youngster wants to be a startup entrepreneur. And that is what we entrepreneurial cells in the various institutions as well. They are promoting startup, and UP is one of the fifth largest startup ecosystem. I was participating in the Global Investor Summit in Lucknow, and we had investors coming in from all over the world. We met people from US, from Australia, from literally all even African countries were representing there. And they are trying to look at India as a destination, and there is a huge scope for the industry also to go and invest there. Now, if we look at who are the founders and who are the people who invest in these startups, we see innovation everywhere. After hearing Mr. Kapoor's talk on digitization, I was yesterday only talking to a startup. They are into putting AI into the camera systems, and they bagged a contract of Coal India. They are actually monitoring all the sites of Coal India. So everybody has a camera system, but AI-enabled camera system where you can actually map that if there is any untoward activity or any activity which is not according to their standards, it will give the system alarm to the system. So these kind of innovations are actually creating a lot of opportunity. A lot of money is coming through venture capitalists in India, and of course, the legal structure also is very important. So that is where I come in. I'm a company secretary by profession, so we actually support startup ecosystem by guiding them in this area. Let's look at the top 20 startups. CRED, we all know what is CRED. Upgrade, knowledge startups. Grow, they are also trying to support the ecosystem of growth. Zepto, who heard about 10 minutes delivery? When it came, we all thought it is a fluke, it may die down, but actually they created ripples in the market, and we see a lot of others also falling in line who are doing instant deliveries. Skyroot Aerospace, our own private aerospace company, and they are launching satellites. They are going to launch actually. It's already in the plan, and these two guys are from ISRO, and they started their own startup in 2018, and they are already ready for the launch. We have MBA Chaiwala. I think you all heard about him. This guy is creating a lot of noise, and 100+ outlets are already there. in a very short span of time. Spinning. If you go to Gurgaon, Sona Road, you see a huge building where proudly it is written Spinning. And what they are doing, they are helping you sell your old cars. And suddenly they have become too big and they have come in the top 20 list. Good Glam Group. You must have heard about Mama Earth and all these startups which have come up, and this group has actually changed the way beauty aids are bought in the market. We have Growth School, educational startup. Blue Smart. You see all these smart EV taxis moving around. They are all and they have moved to Bangalore also recently. It's our own Gurgaon-based startup. We have ShareChat, we have Ditto Insurance. List is many. Rapido, who thought about the hailing service on a motorbike, and they are doing very well. Park Plus, Bliss Club. So these are the few examples which are there. Now, what are the pros and cons? Basically, one, they are offering more opportunities to learn. There is an increased responsibility, flexibility, workplace space benefits are there, and innovation is encouraged. But there is a risk of failure. Every startup, has a failure ratio, and out of 10 startups you may invest in, you may see that 2 only will succeed, but they will give you that kind of 10x or 15x, which you can easily recover from the other investments. So they have to raise capital. There's a huge stress, and of course, competitive business environment. Now, let us look at what is the role of our startups in the economic growth. One, of course, we are encouraging overall economic development. We are promoting exports through startups. A huge, export contribution is there from the startup world. Growth in GDP. In 5 years' time, startups are going to contribute at least 5% of the GDP of India. So that's the kind of projection being talked about. And of course, improved standard of living, because they are solving some problem or the other. No? So startup world is all about how you are solving the problem and you are actually innovating. Distributing of wealth and creation of wealth, and of course production of jobs. Now there is a huge employment being generated by startups, and of course they are creating technology advancement and big solutions there, and of course the requirement of product and services are being met through the startup ecosystem. Now e-learning has got a big boost through the startup world. You can see so many e-learning startups which have in fact the most valued startup in India is from e-learning sector. We also have a lot of e-commerce startups which play a crucial role in providing essential supplies. COVID, we have seen a lot of everything was being run through these e-commerce startups which were giving us support. We were all comfortable in our homes, and these guys were delivering our medicines, our essentials on time. And after COVID-19, there was a huge startup on there was stress on medical personnel, and we saw a lot of healthcare startups. So healthcare is a big area, and there are actually, if you see, almost 30% of Indians are going to be, as Deepakji mentioned, we are a young country, but 30% are going to be more than 60 years also. So they are huge, opportunities for health tech startups, and there are many examples in that area. Technology, robotics, AI, EV sector, fintech, agriculture startups, and recently I think Government of India has come up with a lot of SOPs for agri startups as well. So this is what I just wanted to talk about. I'll leave the floor open for any questions. There was a question about metaverse. There is a new startup which is Yologram. What they do is that you can feel the clothing which you are online. You can actually feel it on yourself and you can test it, and you can even make your own kind of a own clown, or you can make your own avatar is the right word. So on your avatar you can check for yourself how you look like in those clothes. So this is just one example I'm giving. Metaverse is also having huge opportunity. So let us see that our startups succeed, and we are all investors as well as industrialists here. So let us support the startup ecosystem, and that is my request to you. I'm open to questions. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rajiv. I have a query, just out of curiosity. With the collapse of 3 major banks in US, again funding and investors have been again affected a lot, and it has directly affected the tech startups. How do you think it has affected India?
See, there is a funding winter, of course. In India, we were having a lot of money coming in from US. We had investors from Europe as well. But if you ask me honestly, as Deepak ji mentioned, ye dil mange more, Indians have an indomitable spirit. We have a spirit to actually take over. So our own seed capital firms, our own VCs have really taken over. And I saw today morning only somebody from the VC world, he has very openly mentioned on LinkedIn that we are open. We have done 2 such big investments in the last 15 days, and they are saying openly our turnaround time is 15 to 20 days. And that is how they are actually fueling money into the Indian startup ecosystem. So this is going to pass. Of course, there is a slowdown because of this, but it's not going to stop the money flow. Yeah. Sure. Please.
Das, I am basically an entrepreneur and I am running different ventures. Now, it's good to hear about startups and the ecosystem and a lot of things, but I still feel that we have miles to go before we really develop a really congenial environment for industry. Even as a small-time businessman, I still want to remain small because I always look where is the good manpower. Whenever we start anything, one thing comes from there, the other things. As an entrepreneur, I'm not able to focus on business. I'm not saying it's a complaint, but I think when a country needs to grow and anything needs to grow, some criticism should also be there. So a little bit, I believe the system should be so well integrated that one stop I should be able to go to a shop, go to an area, say that please get me cleared of GST, income tax, sale tax, whatever kind of thing, and end of the story. Makes life easier for the businessman to think. And I think also availability of manpower, the manpower is really taking a big beating because the big multinationals have good money to spend, whereas the small companies don't have. So resource crunch also is there in spite of people saying we don't have jobs. So
I appreciate what you are saying, but let me tell you, faceless assessments and as I think Mr. Kapoor's presentation mentioned that the tax assessment is being done in one day, So, but let me tell you, we, of course, small entrepreneurs have to struggle a bit, but there are huge battery of professionals who are actually there to help you. So have that open mind to take the help of professionals working hand in hand with you There are services like shared CFO services. There are services like shared commercial guy who can actually come and join you as an investor or a co-founder as well. So you have to actually keep that open mind to expand. There's a huge potential. I'm proud Indian, I'm proud of India, and let me tell you, this is how we are going to become, number one economy of the world. And 2030, as we said that, these and the colleges are preparing skilled manpower. Yeah.
Thank you so
Let
much.
me, both the speakers will be, distinguished speakers are available in the lunchtime. So anybody who wants to interact and interact at that time.
Thank
Since
you.
we have a
Thank you
short
so
period
much.
of time,
Thank you.
I would like to conclude the session.
Thank you.
Information about bank schemes, no information about government schemes, how to prepare a report, I was not knowing, and on the top of that, friends and relatives were saying, why you are living such a good job? And moreover, there were no mentors like Mr. Rajiv Bajaj to guide the young entrepreneur of those times. So to conclude, I will just have some bullets points I will share with all of you. Number one, that India is working closely with countries like Germany for AI-based startups and research. India's chairmanship for partnership as global partnership in AI for innovation and designing framework for emerging technology. Government initiative on Startup India Seed Fund and e-business portal. There's allotment of around 285 rupees crore in this current budget year, and benefit of carry forward to losses of to 10 years for the startups. There are 77,000 DEP IIT registered startups as of today. As Mr. Rajiv said, 110 unicorns in India with total valuation of US $340 billion, and their funding options from industry, corporates and individuals. To conclude, I will add that AI is a will be a multi-trillion industry, and with India consolidating its position as the world's third largest startup ecosystem, I see this is the time, or I would say auspicious time for India for growth and transformation to become a world-class educated economy. Thank you. I again thank both the distinguished speakers for their valuable knowledge and audience for this session. Thank you.
We join you, Alok sir, in thanking the distinguished panelists. Wonderful deliberations, and as a token of a profound gratitude for you all, sirs, for being with us today and sharing your valuable insights with us, it would be an honor to present you with a token of gratitude. We request CA Anil Agrawal ji to kindly, first where we have a huge round of applause. We had very insightful session. I request CA Gulshan Kumar sir, Gulshan Thapar sir. I request Mr. R.K. Mahajan sir to kindly present a token of gratitude to our session chairperson, Mr. Alok Saxena. Please sir. Thanks to a rich session with many perspectives being shared. Thank you so much. We also request our dignitaries, our panelists to kindly join us for a group photograph so that we can cherish these memories. Please request you all to kindly move ahead. Kindly step to welcome you all again, once again in our forthcoming endeavors.
Thank you.
Dear audience, starting with our technical session 2. Can we have a huge round of applause?